Okay, here we go with punctuation with Mr. Helderly. We're going to take a week, probably closer to 2 weeks to get through everything with punctuation. But what you see below you there are all the punctuation marks we're going to learn about. Hopefully you know them and don't just use them to make funny little faces at the end of your text. So let's get out some your blank notes, pencil, and let's get ready to go. The three end marks are the period, the question mark, and the exclamation point. This is how we're going to start our unit on punctuation. Then we're going to get into information with commas. Please remember you can stop, pause, rewind this video whenever you need to. If you're not able to keep up with the notes or things are moving too fast, or if you're just not clear about something, don't be afraid to pause and rewind. Periods. We're going to use a period at the end of a declarative sentence. What's a declarative sentence, you might ask? Declarative sentence is one that makes a statement. For example, Mr. Helderly tries to make language class interesting for his students. Making a statement there. Not a whole lot of emotion in that sentence. Everything we say has emotion, but there's not a lot of emotion there. We don't need an exclamation point. Not asking a question, so it's a declarative sentence making a statement. You're also going to use a period at the end of nearly every imperative sentence. And in case you don't remember what an imperative sentence is, that's a sentence that gives a command. For example, put the book away. Put that book away, I'm commanding someone to do something. It's an imperative sentence. You're also going to use a period at the end of an indirect question. Indirect question. Does that sound familiar to you? An indirect question reports what a person asked without using the person's exact words. I guess you could kind of say it's like paraphrasing. It's not their exact words. It's not a quotation. Not using their exact words. For example, Sarah asked if we had homework tonight. I would tell Sarah she should check her planner or Edmodo, School Fusion, to find out. You're also going to use a period after an abbreviation or initial. Don't forget your capitalization rules here. Take a look at your examples there. A doctor's name, AM, PM, all those sorts of things. We haven't not talked very much about outlines or lists, but you want to make sure to use a period after each one of those. Okay. Basically what an outline does is it helps you control your thoughts before you're writing a paper. Breaks big ideas down into smaller pieces. So you can see like the Roman numeral 1 and 2, the A, the B, the C, whatever, however many ideas you've got to break down. Question marks. Use a question mark to end an interrogative sentence. Interrogative equals question. For example, is this video helping you? Exclamation points. Those we use to end an exclamatory sentence. The command is said with strong emotion. It ends with an exclamation point. I can't believe it. Use an exclamation. All right, this is going to conclude lesson 1 in punctuation. Less than 5 minutes. I highly suggest you work ahead and complete lesson 2, which is the first part of commas in a sentence. Go through a lot of stuff with the commas. If you choose not to continue, make sure you start watching from this point tomorrow. It'll probably take you about 15 minutes from here to finish the first lesson in commas. Lesson 2, all about commas. Commas in a sentence. In a series of 3 or more items, you're going to want to use a comma after every item except the last one. Let me reiterate. It's in a series of 3 or more items. Take a look at the example there. My favorite foods are cauliflower, broccoli, and tofu. A series constitutes 3 or more items. During our summer vacation, we visited Kansas, Colorado, Utah, Nevada, California, Oregon, and Washington. It's a pretty long trip. But if you take a look, showing you where an arrow or a comma is going to go after each one of those. After Oregon, you have the word and Washington. Do not put a comma after the word and. No comma after and. No comma after and. Remember that one. Use a comma between 2 or more adjectives. And remember, adjectives are those words that modify nouns. You're going to use a comma between 2 or more of those adjectives that are of similar nature that modify the same noun. Here's a little hint that's going to help you with this. Adjectives are similar nature if you can substitute the word and for the comma. Christina made a quick, daring escape. That was a funny, witty movie. In both of those examples, I can replace the word and for the comma. Christina made a quick and daring escape. That was a funny and witty movie. See how that works? Use a comma after an introductory word or phrase. Introductory word phrases, those get complicated. Here's one that I happen to use quite often, however. However, one should always use a comma after an introductory word or phrase. And I'm copying and pasting something I got off the internet for you here. I'm going to flip it around. And it's going to give you a list of several introductory words or phrases. Might help you. Like first, for example, furthermore, however, in fact. All of those types of words, you're going to put a comma after. You'll use this in writing a great deal this year. So you might want to pause here. Write a few of these down just to help you out. Ooh, that's bright. Use a comma to set off 1 or more words that interrupt the flow of thought in a sentence. All right, there's that word interrupt again. We kind of talked about that a little bit in capitalization. It's important to remember here is that if it's interrupting the flow or thought of a sentence, set it off with commas. Like in the example here, Ashley, however, did complete the assignment on time. The word however is interrupting our flow of thought. Use commas to set off nouns of direct address. These can come at the beginning, the middle, or an end of a sentence. And a lot of 6th graders struggle with this. You're going to practice this, guys. What's a direct address? That's when you're directly addressing someone in a sentence. Let's look at some examples here. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention? That's a direct address at the beginning of a sentence. Example 2. It was a pleasure to meet you, Sue. That's a direct address at the end. Take a look where the comma goes. And in the last one, thank you, my favorite 6th graders, for remembering to use correct English. That is a direct address smack dab in the middle of a sentence. Make sure you set it off with commas. 1 before, 1 after. Use a comma to set off a positive. A positive what? It's an appositive. An appositive is a word or a phrase that renames a noun or a pronoun. that comes right before it. Use a comma when the appositive adds extra information. It's a great place to throw in some extra information to clear everybody up. For example, Mr. Heltley, my language teacher, is currently teaching us about commas. My language teacher is the appositive and set off in commas. All right, lesson 1 and 2, that's down. You guys are finished. Stay tuned for information.